The one thing about this men's grand final, though, on Sunday night, Joey, is we talk about a lack of experience sometimes and what it might be like for the players. Broncos 23, Storm 24. A lot of players have been there and done that recently.
Yeah, and I wonder how many scars are there for Brisbane 2 years ago, 3 years ago when they got rolled. An incredible grand final. And then last year, obviously, what happened to the Storm. I understand when the Storm went back to pre-season training, there was a different feel, Cameron, after being rolled in that grand final last year.
Yeah, it's a funny thing with Melbourne and those sides coached by Craig Bellamy, because there's a few there that they've won directly after losing one. So this could happen this year after losing to Penrith last year. And of course, like it burns. It burns for that whole period where, from that final siren of that grand final where you're beaten, all the way through until the next opportunity you get to step on the field and start preparing for that next year. You've heard a couple of the players talk about it was motivation through that pre-season period, but once the game started, it was the new year. And but there's no doubt, nearly every player lining up there on Sunday played in that grand final last year, Brace. So I reckon it's going to be in the back of their minds.
Experience, plenty of it out there on the pitch. Lockie, amazing to think the powerhouse that is the Brisbane Broncos. 2006 was their last premiership win. You led the way, 15 points to 8 over the Melbourne Storm. A field goal late, icing it from yourself. But it has been a long time between drinks.
Yeah, it has. I mean, we went into that game, Melbourne were the favourites. They were the best team all year, and similar to Sunday, Melbourne will go in as favourites. We've come close twice since then. I mean, two of the most heartbreaking grand final losses are 2015 and 23. So, yeah, it has been a long time for a club that has had so much success, but maybe that changes this week.
Well, Cameron asked us not to show that vision or even have this conversation. Sorry,
I've never
mate.
seen that. I've never watched that game back.
You've won everything.
Talk about motivation, though. Might be a bit there from the Melbourne Storm after what happened against the Panthers last year. Now, you can see in front of us on the desk here, we'll take a shot of the front here. You've got the NRLW Premiership Trophy and you've got the NRL Proven Summons Trophy there. That's what they're fighting for on Sunday. Of course, the Premiership rings, the Fandangle items that are made in Sydney, worth plenty. And they're a treasured item, of course. And so the players, while they're fighting for it on Sunday, you just want to hope, though, and I saw you backstage a little earlier before the show started, Cameron, just eyeing off one of these beautiful pieces of jewellery here. Whoever ends up with that one on Sunday night, I hope it's not missing a diamond or two.
Well, it's going to be Jerome Hughes or Adam Reynolds. It's got a number 7 on the side of it. So, boys,
Right.
sorry.
You know who to go to if it's got a few blemishes on it. Brilliantly done, mate. Cameras are always rolling in this studio. You should know that. Now, of course, we're loving our studio audience here tonight for our grand final countdown show. A very special live event here on 9. Alana Ferguson, as always, right in the thick of it tonight. Fergo, you're out there with all our punters tonight. You'll be asking them a few questions and they'll be throwing some up our way too.
I will be, Brace. Yeah, absolutely. I've got Rory first. One of your mates, a Bears fan, so make sure you add him to the Christmas list. He's pumped. Rory, you got a fan for the panel?
Yes, is this the greatest NRL season we've seen ever?
Ooh, ever. Big one.
Gents?
It'll be up there. If you have a look at TV ratings, definitely. I think we're up something like 30% all up, which is incredible. And I think attendance, there have been so many sellout crowds. Even my Knights, I think, sold every game out. So it's, you know... Well, he's laughing.
They love that.
That's a low blow. Especially coming from West Tigers fans. They're grounded. You know, there's been sellouts all year.
Yep.
Sellouts all year and TV ratings are through the roof. The game is absolutely flying.
Yeah, it's
absolutely flying.
It's in a real good spot. And I think the two games you talked about before, the Broncos in Canberra and then the Penrith at Suncorp, and then you throw in Origin this year too. That was a great series. So I think, yeah, it's just in such a purple patch at the moment of the game.
Yeah. The unpredictability of the results, I think, week on week, not just week on week, but in the matches too, how games can change from first half to second half has made it more interesting. Particularly when you got guys like Marky Mark this year just scoring tries the way he was scoring tries. It's incredible.
Well, we are reliving that try a little later in the show as well. So much to get through. We've got the party here at the 9 studios, but all day long and into the night, the Fan Fest rolling on down by the harbour in Sydney. And that's where we find Emma Lawrence. Evening, Emma.
Good evening, James. This is one of the best places to be all week. The fans are still around. Are you pumped up and ready? Now, there's been so much happening all day. A little bit later, we had the Broncos and the Storm. They were presented on stage. So All of the fans got to witness their heroes. Some of them were lucky enough to get some selfies as well. They also have the official media conference out in the open, which is sometimes interesting. A few juicy questions from the journos. The women get their turn tomorrow afternoon, and I tell you what, it is going to be pumping all night long. I'm going to be here for another few hours. Jimmy Maloney is going to stop by, an old friend of Channel 9. Christian Welsh is here as well. We're going to dunk them in the tank. We've got a kick for some tickets on the weekend as well. No fighting, boys. You're on live TV, all right? Your parents are watching at home. We're going to give away some tickets. And these guys, you're going to stick around with me, aren't you? Yeah! It's grand final week, baby. I'll see you soon, James.
Yeah, right at home, Emma. Love that full mum mode as well on the youngsters out there as well. Plenty more to come from Emma out there at the FanFest in Sydney, and Alana in the crowd here tonight. And so too our mate Danica Mason, who's on the couch this evening with some special guests. Hello, D-Mace.
Good morning to you, Brace. Yes, some very special guests here. Billy Slater alongside the great Glenn Lazarus. Starstruck over here. Great to have you on as well. We've got so much that we want to talk to you about, but obviously you won premiership with both the Melbourne Storm and the Brisbane Broncos. So this grand final, do you have a favourite?
Look, I've got a lot of connections with both these clubs. I was very fortunate to be successful with both of them. I've just warned my wife that she'll need to have the tweezers to pull all the splinters out come Sunday night, because, look, I'm going to sit back and really enjoy this game. And whoever wins, wins, and I'll be happy for them, and I'll feel bad for the losers. I just can't go for either or. It's got to be, those three clubs that I played for mean everything to me. So I can't pick one.
Lazo, 5 premierships all up for yourself in your career. What made grand final week different for yourself, and how did you become successful in this week?
Yeah, look, it's the most chaotic week, the worst preparation week of all year. Particularly back in my day, we had grand final breakfast we had to come to down here in Sydney. So if you're playing, I was playing for the Brisbane or Melbourne or whatever, we had to fly down. Yeah, there's got to be fan days. You've got to include the fans. It's a must because they're a big part of your club. So you've got to have training sessions with them, and they sort of, not as fluent and sharp as what they normally are. But I think what you've got to do is you've just got to rely on why you got there. You just know that when you start pre-season training in November of the year before, you're now being put into a situation where you're going to hopefully achieve what you set out to do back in November, and that is win the grand final. So,
and that's the luxury that these two teams have. These two footy teams have got the opportunity just to purely focus on the footy because they're at two of the most elite clubs in the competition. They will dot their I's and cross their T's. I know the Melbourne Storm have planned meticulously around this week. They've got the benefit of having last year as a template, and whether they improve something or do the same thing if it worked. So these two teams are very professional in terms of their clubs. So it'll allow them just to really focus on their performance.
Well, you go obviously down in history as one of the greats of our games. I want to get your thoughts on one player in particular, Payne Haas. When you're watching him, especially the last few months of footy, where does he rank for you?
Yeah, look, he to me are the best front row in the game at the moment. But there's quite a few that are chomping at his heels. There's some wonderful talent in the front row at the moment. Look, I think he is absolutely desperate to win a premiership. I think it's probably the only thing that he hasn't achieved in his playing career. He was absolutely shattered, of course, last time he was here when they were beaten by Penrith. He's just a wonderful man. I mean, what he does off the field for family and friends, is just unbelievable. And look, I'd love to see Payne Haas win a grand final, but he's up against a pretty hot Melbourne side who have got Big Stefano, and then so it's going to be a big battle up front.
Yeah, Payne Haas, he's in incredible form and so much around his story as well. So looking forward to seeing him in action come Sunday, and also up against Stefano Utoikamanu. James, it doesn't get more mouth-watering than that.